Al, they talked about they're talking about video games already. Stop them. It's May.
It's May. It's
You're
not
not
June
allowed
yet.
to do this yet.
Nope. It's not
Get
time.
out of here.
Get out of here.
No, they're just kickstarting things, I guess.
I guess so. They wanted to get their info out the door before anybody else could.
Yep, Sony just gonna be Sony and do things their way.
Sounds about right.
Yep. Anyways, hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc, Al, and Lady Yum.
Hello, hello.
This is episode 336. We're going to talk about the recent PlayStation Showcase.
Oh my god, I just realized we're eventually going to have an episode that's 420.
That's like a year or two away.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. I'm just thinking it's funny.
Yes, you're not wrong. I like how 336 was the number. You're like, 420 is going to be a thing.
And I don't do it so quick.
Huh.
Oh no, I snorted.
Yay.
No, boo.
Anyways, we're talking about the PlayStation Showcase. They haven't done one of these in a while. I don't remember when the last one they did was. It was a while ago. But regardless, they talked for an hour straight of just trailers, and that was literally it, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Which I saw someone talk about this after this show, and it made a lot of sense of, like, you know, people talking about how E3 dying as a good thing for the industry, but having these kinds of, like,
Trailer fests?
trailer fest, essentially, I guess is a way to call it, where you don't allow journalists to really get in there and be able to, like, talk with developers and, like, ask questions about anything. It's more just like it is the companies themselves pushing the narrative they want, and that's it. You don't get any, like, pushback against anything. You don't get any questions answered or anything. It's just, here's what we're showing, that's it. Which, not a good thing, it turns out.
Nah.
And I think there could have been some questions been asked about this presentation in particular, because they showed a lot of games for sure, but, like, it was just weirdly paced. There was a lot of stuff in here that just had no dates at all, except for, like, this is coming out this year or next year. Like, there's only, like, a few things in here that had, like, solid dates on them, and there's, like, stuff that we kind of already knew about. So it was just a bizarre thing, I think, in total.
No, I agree.
And you missed, like, half of it, so you missed, like...
I didn't miss half of it. I missed, like, 20 minutes.
You missed half of it, at least. you missed the half where it was just like, here's a new game, and it's coming out, I don't know, question mark.
Oops.
But regardless, yeah, Sony had a lot of games to talk about. Let's talk about some of these video games. They kick things off with a game called Fair Games, but the S at the end has a $sign.
Oh, no.
This is the new game from Haven, which is Jade Raymond's studio, who had worked on, like, Assassin's Creed and all that sort of stuff back in the day. It is a multiplayer heist game where you're, like, stealing from the rich and famous. It's coming soon
The rich and famous.
to the PlayStation 5 and PC. There was no gameplay. It was just a CG trailer, essentially, that looked like they were faking gameplay or what they think gameplay is going to be. It just looked like a live service game, so... who knows? After that, they showed off a sequel to Helldivers. It's called Helldivers 2.
What?
You get to go to Super Earth. It's another top-down isometric action game. It is coming to PlayStation 5 and PC in 2023 as well. Very over-the-top trailer that was, like, almost Battlestar Galactica-esque or whatever, like, the parody action sci-fi show is. That's not Starship Galactica, something Galactica or something. I don't remember. I know my sci-fi clearly. You know, I'm an expert in this.
Battlestar Galactica?
It's one of those. I don't know.
I'm pretty
Either
sure
way.
Battlestar Galactica is the thing you're thinking of, but I could be wrong because sci-fi is not my forte either.
No, we're experts, clearly.
Yeah, very much experts.
Yes.
Star Trek Wars.
Star Wars Trek, please.
Star Wars Trek.
Get it
Sorry.
After that, EA showed off more of Immortals of Avium. They announced this, like, at some point where it was just like, hey, we're making this Magic game, and then is coming out in July. It is a first-person magic game. The combat of it was very, at least for me, reminiscent to like the combat of Ghostwire Tokyo,
Oh,
where it's like
interesting.
all hand-based, but this time it's like more magic instead of what they used in Ghostwire Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks interesting. It's just like the way they announced it and then kind of just like put out a trailer a couple months before releases. Kind of feels like EA's just like, let's just push this out here, throw that out there, I guess. Definitely a game that like it's either gonna probably like live and die on its combat, and like if that is interesting, then I think people will like, go out and play it. If it's not, it's just gonna be, it'll be of all the video games, it will be one of them for sure. That game is coming out on July 20th of 2023.
That's soon.
That is soon. After that, they showed off a sequel to Ghost Runner. It's called Ghost Runner 2. You can like drive a motorcycle down a building. Ghost Runner is like a cyberpunk, fast-paced, first-person shooter type deal, and they're just making another one of those. It's coming out in 2023. The trailer looked nice, but I don't think there was like actual gameplay in it.
Oh.
After
and
that,
a lot of these were captured on PC, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expected, but it like
I mean that's
there were a lot of them.
That's most video game like announcement
Correct.
trailers, I feel like, at this point.
Correct.
After that, they showed off a game called Phantom Blade Zero.
Saw a lot of people were excited about this.
It is a samurai action game, Souls-like-esque. The combat looked very good in it. But again, it's an initial announced trailer. They showed no date for it or anything. So, like, does this live up? Is the combat they're showing here actually what they're going to ship with? Or is this like a proof of concept sort of deal? We don't really know or anything, but it looked nice. I thought the combat, like I said, it looked really cool and interesting. But we'll see whenever they decide to show it off again at some point and actually try and give it a date.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they announced Sword of the Sea, aka Tony Hawk's Pro Journey, because this is a game from the people who made, or like I guess the art director of Journey. It is very Journey-like, but it looks like you're like skateboarding through sand and all that sort of stuff. So it's got like those Journey vibes, but also like you're just surfing on sand. It looked nice. It is coming to the PlayStation 5 in the future. Following that, they announced the Talos Principle 2. It is the sequel to the Talos Principle. It's another. It's a puzzle game. That's basically all you need to know. It's coming to the PlayStation 5 in 2023. Following that, they announced Neva, an EVA. This is a new game from the creator of Grease, so I'm very excited for that because I like that game a lot.
That game was great.
Very colorful. It's about this lady, and she's got like a wolf with her. It looks a lot like that other game, so probably like a platformer of some sorts, I would assume. This is coming to PlayStation 5 in 2024. Also, I think there's some of these games that are like multi-platform, but this just doesn't say it, so who knows exactly which ones. I can't tell you for sure. But yeah, this looked good. I'm excited to play this in 2024, maybe.
I saw the like name of this, and this is where I came in. But I didn't see like the actual content of it. I just saw like the name.
You just saw Neva and was like, forever, ever.
Exactly.
After that, we got Cat Quest Pirates of the Caribbean coming in 2024. It's another game in the Cat Quest saga.
I noticed it was called Cat Quest, but I didn't notice it was Caribbean when it got announced. But I was also freaking out because I missed 20 minutes of it.
You're like, Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's really good.
I've never played a Cat Quest game before. Apparently these cats are going on quests.
Good for them, man.
Yeah. After that, Square Enix showed off a new game. It's called Foam Stars, where I'm surprised it's taken someone this long to just make a game that's Splatoon, but not on a Nintendo console.
Right. I mean, like, you have so many, like, Smash likes and Mario Kart likes and all that. And then
Battle
you have a Splatoon like.
Royales. Like Splatoon's been out there since what, like 2017, 2018 or something like that. Like
Yeah, I mean it was
it,
on the Wii U, right?
yeah, like the first one was. So like it feels like it's wild that it's taken this long for someone to be like, what if we just did that? And that game's pretty popular over there.
Wow.
So yeah, Square Enix is doing this. It's very colorful, Fortnite looking like characters. You shoot bubbles, I guess, is what the instead of like slime and ink. I guess ink is the thing in Splatoon. Sorry, but yeah,
Yeah.
it is a multiplayer game. It'll probably have a battle pass. You'll probably spend money on microtransactions and all that sort of stuff. So it's one of those. Yeah, I'll be curious to see how that shakes out and how it compares to Splatoon. If like it keeps a player base or if it's like a litany of other live service games that launch and then are shut down in 6 months,
Wee.
which is always a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
They showed a game called The Plucky Squire, which I think is like you're like going through a book. Is that game? That might be that game. This page had like all the stuff in it, and then it's just like, all right, now we're gonna like cut out some of this stuff and not show you exactly what this is or really tell you about it, which is always great. But I think it's like an RPG where you're like going through a book and stuff, and like you traverse pages, and that's how you move around and stuff like that. It's coming in 2023. After that, they announced Teardown's coming to consoles, which is probably going to melt your PlayStation 5 if you want to play it.
Yikes.
Teardown's cool. It's a like voxel-esque game where you just break everything. You destroy stuff.
I like destroying stuff.
It breaks in real fun ways and all that sort of stuff, but like it's definitely a game where like on PC you have to have like, good hardware for it in order to really make it work. So it'll be very interesting to see how this runs on a console. Which, I mean, it'll probably run fine on the PS5. But it is one of those things you kind of look at like, is this going to run the best that it can? But that's coming in 2023. After that, they showed off a big ant. And then more insects. And then, like, a lizard. And then, like, a snake. And then a water, a crocodile, and then, hey, there's someone coming out of the water. Oh my god, it's Solid Snake. Actually, it's not Solid Snake. It's Naked Snake. They're remaking Metal Gear Solid 3.
Metal Gear Solid 3 triangle.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid Triangle Snake Eater. That's the new name of it. Nailed it.
Is it what, Delta? Is that
Yeah.
what that symbol is?
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting, I feel like, is the way to describe this.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of people that I'm friends with or am aware of that were real jazzed about this.
Yeah.
It's like that sure is a snake
Yeah.
and a triangle.
Like this is definitely not one of my favorite Metal Gear games. Like I feel like it's probably like mid-tier. But of the ones that I feel like if you wanted to remake, this is probably the one to do so because some of the systems in the original version are kind of just weird and obtuse in a way that you could probably make better in a remake. And they've had they had redone cutscenes for this game in like the Fox engine, which they did Metal Gear Solid 5 in for a Metal Gear Solid 3 pachinko machine, so
oh my god,
they have done at least some work of making this game look better at some point. But
wow,
yeah, this was just a cinematic trailer and that was basically it. So nothing gameplay wise or anything.
if this had been Metal Gear Solid 2, would you have been like,
well, Metal Gear Solid 2 is already perfect and doesn't really need to be remade, so
okay, fair.
But I mean,
would
yeah,
you
I would take.
yourself?
Yes, I would, because I'd be like, hell yeah, this is one of the best games ever made. Let's go.
Yay!
Let's make everyone see Raiden's butt in 4K now.
You know what? I support more butts in 4K. So one time I support Metal Gear
Yeah, if you
showing
want
butts in
butts,
4K.
it's gonna be in Metal Gear. They already said like the original voice cast is back. I think they've said it's like they're just taking the voice recordings from the original game and just putting them in here or something
So
of
no
that
extra
nature.
content.
I don't know if that's if that's the way they're doing it. Then maybe that's the case, but who knows at this point. Kojima's obviously not involved because they're not going to bring him back.
Nope.
Him and Konami had a very
They had a
messy
nasty
divorce.
breakup.
Yes, so obviously he's not going to be here involved in this.
Konami got the kids.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see like how this plays and everything. If it plays more like 5 and stuff like that, or if they try and like make it play similarly to how it originally played, which would be very weird and bizarre, but sure. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3 is being remade. Sure.
Sure.
They also announced that they're doing a collection, which they're calling like the first collection of the first 3 Metal Gear Solid games that they're going to be able to put on modern platforms. It is MGS 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3 are coming from the HD collection they did for the 360 and PS3, which will also include Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 because those are in that HD collection of 3. So those will automatically be in there regardless. This would be the first time 1, I think, is available for like the Xbox.
Oh.
Because this is multi-platform.
Right.
Because 1 wasn't in the HD collection unless you bought the PS3 version, which was like, but there's like they put out a PS3 version of like all the games up to that point, which is like 1 through 4. So there's that. It is original MGS1 as well. It is not Twin Snakes because that was a GameCube game, so that's probably a little bit harder to do and not the version a lot of people would probably want per se. And it does lead the interesting question of like, do they do another one of these? And is this going to be the first time Metal Gear Solid 4 is released outside of the PlayStation 3?
Right.
Which would be surprising because there is a bit of stuff in that game that would make it very hard to put it on other platforms. Like how there is a bunch of licensed product placement in that game. Like you have an iPod in that game. There's people using like Apple computers in that game.
Nice.
There's direct references to you playing the game on a PlayStation 3. So,
Oh.
I mean, you could obviously dub those lines over and you could like replace the stuff in there with like generic MP3 player or just like generic computers and stuff like that. Or you just pay Apple the money to to get that license back in there. But there's definitely been some things I think that have made that game harder to get off of the PS3 than a lot of people anticipate. So if they are doing another collection with like 4 and then I guess Ground Zeroes, Phantom Pain, put Metal Gear Survive in there, that would be very funny. It would be interesting to see 4 out on other consoles besides the PlayStation 3, even though I think replaying 4 right now, 4 might be a bad game.
I brought up Metal Gear Solid 4 somewhat today. Because I was talking about something that George W. did, and I said that one of the only good things he did for me was that thing that I mentioned, and also getting me the Metal Gear PS3.
I mean, people like to talk about Death Stranding being Kojima without an editor. Metal Gear Solid 4 is Kojima without an editor.
I didn't know you were replaying this right now.
And it's very bad. Like, there are just cutscenes in that game that just go on
On
and
and
on
on.
and on and on. And it's just, they're talking about utter bullshit. And it doesn't matter. And it just keeps going. And I'm just like, oh my God.
You realize that was my first experience with Metal Gear and why I don't like Metal Gear, right?
I mean, I can understand that. It's not been a good experience. I mean, the only good thing about it is I found the one track from Snatcher in that game, and I can play that on the iPod.
Oh, hell yeah. If there's one thing I like about Snatcher, it's the soundtrack.
It is pretty good. But yeah, Metal Gear is back-ish.
Back-ish.
After that, they showed a trailer for Towers of Agazaba, which is... It's apparently an adventure game starring giant beasts, gorgeous sights, including floating sky whales. I don't remember this game that much, but apparently it was a thing.
Yeah, I don't either.
After that, they showed a trailer for Final Fantasy 16. which is that
Yep.
game's out in a month. So sure, put a trailer for that out. It's coming out 22nd of June on the PlayStation 5.
They
Final
said the main guy's name many, many times back to back to back to back to back.
Final Fantasy's happening.
Mm-hmm. 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 It's gonna be different.
Stylish action. Character action.
Big scary summon guys.
Big summons. Normal named people.
What's the main character's name?
Joey Final Fantasy. Let's go.
Yay! Is he related to Jack Final Fantasy?
No, Jack Final Fantasy is his own thing. He's
Oh.
the ancestor of everyone.
Okay.
Clive Rossfield.
Because I just remember there's like this like 10-second sequence of Clive. And I was like, why is everybody just saying his name? Like, why did they think this was a good idea for this trailer?
They want to beat it into your head that his name is Clive.
I didn't even remember his name. I just got mad because they said his name a lot.
Oi, be Clive.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna play this game.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Clive and Joshua.
It's got to be better than 15, right?
God. What a... Oh, man.
Speaking of games we're replaying.
Woo! Anyways, yeah, that game comes out in a month, and we will be playing that game soon, so...
Yeah.
After that, a new trailer for Alan Wake 2.
Dos.
Which comes out on October 17th, 2023.
Bad day. Or close to a bad day.
Yes. Showing off the gameplay of it, you play as two characters. There's an FBI agent lady, and you also play as Alan Wake, trying to figure out this mystery that is happening in Bright Falls. And also, Sam Lake is a character, because that's just definitely Sam Lake.
Yep.
It's like, oh, that's that Max Payne face. I know that face anywhere. So I mean, that was cool. And then they were like, oh, by the way, we're putting this out digital only because we don't want to spend the money to put out a physical version of this.
Yep.
So we're going to put it out for $60 instead of $70, but also it's also $50 on PC, and that there's a $10 difference between console and PC because shrug shoulders.
Yeah, that was a bullshit response that they gave, and I'm a little salty about it. I won't even lie, because digital only is not my bag. Not into that. But also, just like, be honest. Tell us you didn't want to spend the money to make the physical versions. Just say that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do this bullshit of like, oh, you know, we're just doing it this
way. Well, both consoles got digital versions of them, so, and like PCs are just digital only now, so.
We're trying to keep the cost down, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you're not trying to save us money when you're like, hey, here's one for 50 and one for 60. Like, bruh.
Also, you could just choose to put it out for 60.
You could just do that.
Regardless.
You could just do
Nobody's putting a gun to your head and saying, $70 or die.
No. So that's kind of
yeah.
It was a wet fart because I was excited about Alan Wake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll still play it, but I was a little disappointed.
It's a bummer coming off of like a cool trailer.
Yeah, no kidding.
After that, they showed off a new trailer for Assassin's Creed Mirage. Which is a prequel to Valhalla, because like there's a dude in Valhalla you meet who's like in the Assassin's Guild, and that's who you play as in this game. So that's how that works. You're in the Middle East again. It looks like Assassin's Creed, and it looks nice.
Yeah, it looks like an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they've done a good job of like they're taking a year off and doing like a 2-year cycle instead, because it definitely makes it so like they have not like watered down that series as much as they had previously, where it was like a yearly franchise.
Oh, it was becoming too much.
Yeah. I mean, they still have that one. They're like doing a live service version of Assassin's Creed, I think, where it's just going to be like Not like in the terms of like normal live service games, I guess, where it's more like kind of like a hub for like I guess probably smaller stories that they want to do, sort of deal. But they haven't like shown that off yet, I think so. But that's also what they have kicking around. Maybe they'll show that off when Ubisoft does their thing in a couple weeks. After that, they announced a game called Revenant Hill. It is a new game from the people who made Night in the Woods, and I'm very excited for that.
I don't remember this at all.
There's a cat.
I love cats.
Night in the Woods is very good, so another game from the folks who made that is also very exciting, and I will definitely play whatever this ends up being. Because there will be a cat.
Yay. Will it dance, 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 and dance, dance, dance?
I mean, maybe. Possibly. This is coming to PlayStation 5 in the future.
In the future.
Yep. Following that, they showed off a new trailer for Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which is the Grand Blue Fantasy, like, action game that they announced, like, way back when and have not shown off since. But is apparently coming out in the winter of 2023. Which, I mean, it was nice to see that this game still exists. But again, it's not a good Grand Blue Fantasy game unless they'll let you do gacha for the bajillion characters that are in the game, and I can play as the gals from Love Live Sunshine.
Yep,
that's all I need. After that, they showed off a story trailer for Street Fighter 6, a game that comes out yesterday. When this game when this episode comes out. This game's are out. This game is out. You could be hitting the streets right now.
Oh, snap.
You could be the Street Fighter. I've played the demo and the open beta they did to this. It's the fighting's pretty decent in this game.
Is it?
It's a nice looking game too. Like there's some good style in this game. So yeah, Street Fighter. Definitely, it does not seem like it's going to have as bad as a initial release as Street Fighter 5 did, which is probably a good thing. But yeah, that comes out. That'll be out yesterday. Once this episode comes out. Following that, they announced Ultros, not the big octopus monster from Final Fantasy. It is instead a side-scrolling game with some cool art. And you fight stuff. It looks Metroidvania-ish. It's also coming in 2024. After that, they announced Tower of Fantasy coming to the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. It's Genshin Impact, but not. I think this is out on mobile and also PC, but now it's going to be coming to console at some point. They did not announce a release date of anything. But yeah, if you want to play not Genshin Impact, that'll be out there at some point in time. After that, they showed off a new trailer for The Dragon's Dogma 2, which is still a video game. Dragons are there. There's people. There's drama happening, and people are very excited for it. But they did not announce a date or anything. It's just here. It's coming out, which is the trend of the show. And then after that, they showed off a trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's game, which is coming in late 2023. And now it's time for the PlayStation VR 2 showcase. Let's go. Everyone's favorite.
Nope.
First off, if you want to play Resident Evil 4 in VR, you now can soon. Because Resident Evil 4 VR will be coming to PlayStation VR 2. Hey, Resident Evil 4, it's a pretty good game. So
That's a pretty good game. That's what I hear.
Yeah. Arizona Sunshine 2 is a sequel to Arizona Sunshine. It's a zombie shooting game coming to PSVR 2 in 2023.
And it was the one thing that they're like, oh, yes, we have one joke and we're going to reuse it again. It's really annoying.
Crossfire Sierra Squad is a shooter game in VR. Yep. Then another shooter game in VR came and it's called Synapse. It's coming on the July 4th, 2023.
Oh, that was that weird brain one.
And then Beat Saber is coming to PSVR 2 with a Queen pack, and it's available now. And that was your VR update. Do. Man, some of these VR games did not look good.
Nope.
They just
No, they
looked
did
like
not.
they look like the stuff that they were showing off for like the Oculus Rift when that was first announced. It's just like, this is just the same stuff we've been doing for 7-8 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's that.
Yep.
Anyways, Bungie's here.
All right.
They got stuff to talk about, like, hey, we're remaking Marathon. Which is a very weird and wild thing to do, but also they're making Marathon into a live service game, which is also very bizarre, because original Marathon was definitely not that. It was just a weird sci-fi first-person shooter. But Marathon's coming back as a live service game, sure. I guess. And Destiny 2 is getting a new expansion or something called The Final Shape, and they paid Nathan Fillion some money to come back. That's that. After that, they showed off a trailer for a game called Concord, which comes out in 2024, but I don't think they really showed much of anything from it. It's sci-fi.
Yep.
And that was it. There was like nothing to tell you exactly what this game was at all. And then, of course, we have to head to the movies with a trailer for the Gran Turismo movie.
Oh, I forgot that was there.
Based on a true story, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a movie that's coming out. Anyways, let's talk about PlayStation hardware. And by that I mean we're gonna make a streaming device that definitely is not the Nintendo Switch, or as I saw a lot of people put, someone like Link using the Ultra Hand to chop a controller in half and just stick it onto a phone.
I mean, you got it right.
They are calling this Project Q. It is literally just the PlayStation Vita with remote play.
Yes.
But with a DualSense controller as the sides of it. It's all it is. It's a streaming device that you could remote play from your console, essentially, or cloud if they decide to do that or something of that nature. It's going to cost way too much money and probably not be the success I think somebody wants it to be. This is not the Nintendo Switch killer.
No, it is not.
And also, they're putting out earbuds.
Oh, right, the earbuds. I forgot about them.
Because, sure, I guess.
Yeah.
Those will also probably be way too expensive.
Oh, 1,000% going to be too expensive.
Yeah. And then their one final thing was a big gameplay and trailer for Spider-Man 2.
The Spooder Man. The
Spooder Man. This game's coming out in the fall of 2023. They showed off Kraven the Hunter being one of the villains of the game. The dual nature of the two Spider-Mens you'll be playing as, Peter Parker and Miles Morales. Peter has the symbiote suit now, and he's very angry. Yuri Lowenthal was very angry. And Miles Morales is just like, okay, my guy. Sure.
I don't think I've ever heard Yuri Lowenthal this mad.
It was
have
interesting.
You?
I don't know.
I just like that you said angry Yosuke to me, and I was like, yep.
Yeah.
That's angry Yosuke.
Yeah.
Yep.
They also showed that the lizard's going to be in this game because they're trying to find the lizard, not let him get taken by Kraven's hunter people. I thought the way they showed off like the seamless ways that you can switch back and forth between Peter and Miles was very good. Just very seamless. Like you just go bam, bam, and it's like you're there, and then you have the full abilities of either character, which they'll definitely play differently because they both have different abilities and stuff. And it looks really nice. It's probably going to be really good. Like the first Spider-Man game was good. That Miles Morales game that they did was also really good. So I'm excited to see what they do with this and like what they do with the story and everything. Because, obviously a lot of people like the Venom suit, so if that's their way of also like putting in Venom as well, people will be excited for that. I hope that
Mm-hmm.
they do an Easter egg of the emo dance, because that's always a fun time. And I thought some of the stuff they showed with like Peter in the symbiote suit, like more aggressive powers and everything, was interesting. Where he's just like throwing people into the side of a house. I was like, sick.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
it was
The only thing that
intense.
didn't feel realistic is that you're not like you weren't swinging around in like very goofy suits that you've unlocked throughout the rest of the game. Like, why am I not Bagman Spider-Man? Why am I not
Man.
swinging around like that? Why am I not swinging around? Man, they should put a Spiders Man costume in this game. Which Spiders Man, if you don't know, is Spider-Man, but is Spider-Man made up of a bunch of spiders?
Oh my God, that sounds like your ultimate nightmare.
It is, but it's also very funny. It's just a bunch of tiny little spiders that come together and they become Spider-Man.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I wonder as well if they'll do any like try to do any crossover with the Into the Spider-Verse sequel film that's coming out in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
because they did a little bit of that in the Miles Morales game, where you had a suit from that and it had like the like 24 frames per second effect that you could use in the game, and it looked really nice and everything. So I wonder if they'll do more of that kind of stuff. But yeah, that game looks good, so it'll be interesting to see how that all comes to be and what they decide to do with all that story and everything. So
It was pretty.
Spooderman.
I won't play it, but I'm happy for people that will play it.
But yeah, that was this show. It was
Spider
very
sounds.
like I said, it was very weirdly paced. Like the VR segment near the
Yeah.
end was just like, oh boy, let's just get this over with.
Yeah, it was painful.
And just like some stuff that didn't show up that I thought was weird. Like they are making that Wolverine game that didn't show up here, which I guess they're just still making it, so they just don't have anything to show. No Like a Dragon news, but we learned later in the week that they're doing their own thing, so I guess that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was very weird. It was obviously, like we said earlier, it was very just trailer, 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 trailer. But so many of these trailers just did not have gameplay in them in the slightest, and didn't have like any concrete dates or anything. So it was just like it's hard to get excited for stuff like that when you don't really have a sense of exactly how this is going to play or when you're going to be able to play it.
Right. Yeah. Me.
We. It is just one of those things. But yeah, this is the start of summer games announcements. We won't get to talk about any of those next week because there's nothing really happening this week
Mm-hmm.
that we're recording. But the week after, I believe, starting on the 8th is the Summer Games Fest, the Keighley show.
Oh, the Jeff Keighley show.
The Jeff Keighley show, excuse me. And then that weekend is Xbox and I think Ubisoft. So we'll be able to talk about all that
Yeah.
for podcast in 2 weeks. And then on the 15th is the RGG Studio Summit, where they're going to talk about games they're making and potentially other stuff.
So exciting.
So we'll probably talk about that maybe in 3 weeks, depending
Fingers
on what they
crossed.
decide to talk about and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. That's the stuff we'll talk about for the summer. I don't think there's anything else really that we would talk about, because like there's obviously going to be other stuff happening around those times, but usually those are just like shows that we don't really discuss or cover unless something like major happens or something that both of us would be interested in would be announced. Maybe we'll talk about it
Right.
then, but for the most part, it's just stuff that we kind of don't really talk about here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also as well, like I said, after that, I think that's the bulk of the stuff. The bulk of like the major events. Like Nintendo doesn't have anything scheduled, and they may not have anything scheduled until they do their thing in Seattle in like August or September. So
Oh,
who
that's a
knows?
long time.
That is a long time. But yeah,
Me.
we'll talk more about games in 2 weeks that have been announced.
Yep.
But that's going to do it for this week. Sony'd.
Sony'd, and I missed half of it.
You did. Too busy.
Sorry, work.
Too busy.
Too busy. Sony just needs to get on my schedule.
It's true, like everyone does.
Yeah. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
Like including my job. Get on my schedule, job.
It's true. But yeah, that's gonna wrap us up for this week. If you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool. It's where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts. So if you want more from us, that's where you find it. I just lost the track there of what I was saying. If you want more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, a critical analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early, and a whole wealth of bonus content as well. Next week, we'll have to find something else to talk about because no games.
No games.
So we'll figure something out, and then we'll talk about it.
Yay.